Welcome to Blog Talk Radio in high fidelity.
Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter podcast. All the news in the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
And we are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter podcast, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we'll talk about it here. My name is Eric Lorta, and I'm here with my co-host, Ringside Robert, and England's adopted son, Joe Habib, who is just back from England. He went to the royal wedding this weekend. We have a great show for you today, and as always, you can catch us on the web at ringsidereporter.com. If you want to call or ask questions, you can call in right now at 323-870-3857. We'll be here till about 9 o'clock tonight, and today we're going to talk about Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua. The rumors are it's getting very, very close, and we'll tell you what we know. Also, too, don't miss the train wreck of the week this week. It's going to be epic. But first, we get started with Adonis Stevenson versus Badou Jack for the WBC Light Heavyweight Title. This was like two different fights. Badou Jack did virtually nothing in the first 6 rounds. Stevenson was throwing a ton of punches, but not really landing anything real effective, to be honest. He was winning the rounds. He was throwing a lot of punches, but nothing, everybody was expecting the big left hand and everything like that. Nothing. He wasn't landing, big shots, but definitely winning the round because Badou Jack was largely doing nothing. It was about the second round when I looked at him and noticed that Stevenson was really breathing heavy. This was at the end of the second round. He sat down on a stool, and you could just see he was like breathing really, really heavy, man. I knew he was going to run out of gas at that point. He looked really exhausted. Around the 7th round, Stevenson looked completely spent, and Badou Jack really started picking up the pace. I mean, it was like a switch went off. It looked like the first 6 rounds in reverse. Jack just completely overwhelmed Stevenson in the second half of the fight. At the end of the 10th round, though, Stevenson landed a body shot that hurt Jack, and this carried over to the 11th that Stevenson came out throwing. But again, he ran out of gas about midway through the round, and Stevenson ran out of gas midway through the round, and then Jack just took over. The 12th round was more of the same. Jack just completely dominated the round. Final scores were 115-113 for Jack and 114-114 twice for a majority decision draw. I had the fight scored 115-113 for Badou Jack. It was a close fight, and I tell you what, Jack has nothing. Jack said after the fight that maybe the judges didn't like Mayweather, or the fact that there was a Mayweather bias there because Mayweather's his promoter. Listen, man, I got to be honest. I like Badou Jack, but he's got nobody to blame for this but himself. Because, if he would have dropped Stevenson, if he would have just started a little bit earlier, maybe he starts in the 5th round instead of the 6th round, all this is for nothing because he wins that fight. Given when your game plan is to give away the first few rounds, that's always risky, especially in somebody else's backyard. You're fighting, where in Toronto? You're fighting in Canada. What did you, but I got it. That being said, though, I think the judging was fair because even though I had a 115-113, I gave Badou Jack the 11th round. I'm one of the few that gave him the 11th round. A lot of people gave the 11th round to Stevenson. I gave him the 11th round because I thought that Jack, that Stevenson maybe did well, maybe not even half of the round. Then he ran out of gas again. And then I thought Badou Jack just dominated the round again. So you got to look at, to me anyway, you got to look at the complete round. But it kind of is what it is, I thought that it was a good fight. And thank you, Mark76, for the donation in the chat. Thank you very much. Beeb, let's shoot it over to you. What this fight?
It's hard to really say why Jack did what he did. At first, I thought he was obviously trying to get a feel for what Stevenson was doing. It was like a feel-out round in the beginning. The first round. Second round was a little bit more the same. But he was allowing Stevenson to just jab at him and peck at him and peck at him and keep the fight from a distance. And it was almost like he was trying to get a feel for the rhythm of that jab, try to see, the time it coming out, maybe come over the top, with his own jab, or step in with a right hand. I don't know. But things started turning around for him when he started jabbing with Stevenson and stepping in behind his jab and closing the distance a little bit, because you can't give Stevenson that space that he likes. So it's hard for me to say if he was just waiting and letting Stevenson throw punches, because the game plan was that, I'm going to pour it on in the second half of the fight, because that's when Stevenson gets tired. So if they were just expecting that, and if that was the game plan, that's a risky game plan, because if Stevenson does pick off one or two of those second half of the, one or two rounds in the second half of the fight, then, that's risky business there. You're going to end up losing the fight or end up coming up with a draw. So Jack definitely started slow. Stevenson took advantage of that. And I think Paulie Malignaggi and Al Bernstein made a great point. The rounds that Jack won, he did win big. He won decisively. The rounds that Stevenson won, he won basically because Jack wasn't doing anything, and he was just doing a little bit more. But all in all, I scored the fight a draw. I gave the 11th round to Stevenson, and I gave I believe I gave Stevenson the first, second, and third, and the 5th and 6th. And then I gave Jack 7, 8, 9, and 10, and then I gave Stevenson the 11th, and then I gave Jack the 12th. So it was a good fight. Definitely warrants a rematch. But I agree with you. I think Jack, he waited a little bit too much early on. I understand you want to get a feel and a rhythm for what your opponent's doing. But even Floyd, when he used to do that, he would give maybe 1 or 2 rounds away in the beginning, and then he would start stepping it up in the 3rd and 4th round, really trying to turn the fight around. Jack didn't really start to step up till the 4th, but after that, he went back into his shell a little bit and gave away the 5th and the 6th. So you got to do a little bit more early on. You can't lose 5 of the first 6 rounds in a fight and put yourself in a hole that big, because it's a lot of pressure, and it leaves very little room for error later in the fight. But I want to just make a great point that Davey Boy Essex talked to me about a year ago, because we talked about close fights like this and how they're so controversial and no one likes draws. He said to me, he made a suggestion that in a close round, maybe a fighter should get a 9.5 and the winner of the round get a 10. So you have like a half point where the round is like really close. And if you scored some of those close rounds like that for Stevenson, then you can argue Jack would have won the fight based off of that. But you hear things like, you got to take it from the champion. You hear things like, oh well, at the end of the fight, one guy raised his hands right away. He looked like the winner. All these unwritten rules, and with all due respect to Floyd Mayweather, when he was asked about who won the fight, that was something he said at the end. Oh well, my fighter raised his hands right away when he won, and Stevenson waited a couple minutes before he raised his hands. Okay, so the judges see that, and they're supposed to go and say, hey, this guy looked like the winner. Let me go back and change some of the rounds that I scored already for the other guy. I mean, you can't do that. So the 10-point must system is flawed. Maybe it needs an overhaul. But if you're going to score rounds, then it's very fair that if you come to a 114 scorecard, that's very reasonable if you're scoring rounds. But if you want to talk about who won rounds bigger, then yeah, that 9.5 system would be interesting. And I think Davey Boy Essex, made a great point when he talked to me about that, because I think that's a great idea. And I think if that was applied here, it would have been a different story. But yeah, they'll probably run it back. And I think the fight's a no-brainer to go back to Canada. I don't think, as you said, Adonis Stevenson can fight outside of Canada. I don't know. It's got some issues there. And again, it looked like a good crowd. The city really seemed to be really excited for the event, and it was well received. So why not run it back there or run it back in Montreal? Why not?
What's funny is that after the press conference, Floyd Mayweather and Badou Jack were taking questions, and Badou Jack says, I don't want to fight him here next time. He said, I really don't. He said, I don't like it here. And he said, I like the people and I like everything, the town and everything. He said, I just didn't like the officiating. He said he didn't like the scoring. He didn't like any of it. You know, he kind of felt it was slanted, which, you know, you are in his backyard, so it is what it is. But he said that he said, well, maybe we can fight him in the United States. And Floyd interjected and says, you know, I don't know that we can, you know. And he was like, well, that's fine. We'll fight him in Europe then. He said, I'm from Europe. And Floyd says, I'm not even 100% sure he can leave this country, you know. And I think he might be right. I don't know if he can leave the country. I know he's not allowed here. That's why he doesn't fight here. Yeah, I mean, that may be what you're looking at here. But I do think a rematch is warranted. I really do. But as far as the scoring and everything like that, hey, guys, man, I think that scoring was right on the money. I had it 115, 113 for Jack. Beeb had it a draw. Robert, how did you have this fight scored?
I followed Beeb's path. I scored it a draw. I mean, you can't give Stevenson or Jack an extra round. This was a perfect 6-6 fight. And whether you like it or not, Badou, you're going to be fighting in the Maple Leaf capital once again. And you know, I feel bad for the people of Canada. And I didn't realize that until the ring announcer was making the introductions. Anybody who lived in Canada who did not go to the fight, they had to pay for this.
It was on pay-per-view. Yeah.
I'm sorry, but the people of Canada got ripped off here. They made them pay to watch this fight. This was definitely a Showtime fight, and that's not fair to the people of Canada. I used to live there, and I hated it whenever big fights came along that weren't pay-per-view worthy. If you wanted to watch a fight, you had to pay for it there. And that's horrible. But this was a good fight, but Badou Jack has nobody to blame but himself. This was if you want to see a draw and how a draw should be fought, this is exactly how it turns out. You can't see this any other way. And they are going to have to fight in Montreal or Toronto again. If you want to rematch this guy, you're going to have to go back to Canada because he can't go anywhere else.
Yeah, I would think so too. But I thought, I mean, you know, and I'm not too bent that it was a pay-per-view fight in Canada. I mean, they do this all over the world where, you know, if it's a big fight in your country, and again, Adonis Stevenson, big fight, they do the pay-per-view. They do it in England, and we get it for free and that kind of thing. So I'm not.
Yeah, I know.
Puerto Rico's the same way.
But I just felt bad for the people when I heard that. I'm like, really? You know?
Yeah. I kind of agree with that though. But it was a good fight.
Yeah.
I mean, they were treated to a good fight. So
yes, it was.
Hey,
it was. Although the referee, don't ever allow that referee back in the country of Canada. He was awful.
John Lewis,
if you want to criticize anything, the judges for once did their job.
Yeah.
The referee was pathetic. You know, you got to get a different referee if they have a rematch. He was awful.
They're 100% will be a different referee if they get a rematch, man, because that guy was awful. Awful.
I'm sorry, UK, but that was the worst referee I've seen in quite some time.
Yeah. I mean, he's notorious for being a bad referee too. Yeah, and somebody in the chat just had a 115, 113 for Stevenson. So again, man, I mean, like I said, man, we love Badou Jack here, but the thing is, man, I mean, you can't give away the first 6 rounds and then expect to win the fight in his backyard. It just doesn't work that way.
No.
That's a tough haul. But I will tell you that Sugar Hill, coach for Adonis Stevenson, he was not real pleased with Stevenson's performance after that 3rd round and going through the fight. So he thought he was, I don't know if he thought he was losing rounds or what, but you can hear him. He had some urgency in his voice. And he did a pretty good job at kind of motivating him because he stayed in there. And listen, man, you got to give Stevenson credit. No matter what you think about him, look, he's 40 years old. And to stand there and take that, you know, and go 12 rounds after going 3 rounds in the past, 40 years or something crazy? It was some ridiculous stat.
Yeah.
He hung in there, man. He took some shots. And hey, man, my hat's off to him, man. He did a good job last night.
And you know, I've got to ask a question about Badou Jack and his fighting style. This is the 4th draw he's got in his career. Is there something that he needs to change as far as the way he fights? Because he's constantly in fights that wind up in draws. Is there something that he does that allows him to stay in fights but can't get him the wins?
Start slow. He's a slow starter. And that's what I knew. That's what scared me about this fight going in. Is I said that, my big fear for Badou Jack was coming in is that if this goes past 4 rounds, the longer it goes, the better it favors Jack. If it goes past 4 rounds, I think Jack's got a really good shot and Jack will win the fight. But if it, if he gets caught early, because his knockout was in the first round. So if he gets caught early, he can go, so that was my big, and Adonis is dangerous early. That was my thing. So, but
it's very rare that you see a championship quality fighter with only 1 loss and now 4 draws.
Yeah, but in fairness, though, like I said, man, in fairness, he's got to be able to start faster. And he doesn't. He's just a notorious slow starter. Look at last night.
But I'm wondering, is there something you can do in training camp to improve that?
Yeah, I'm sure he could start faster. I'm sure he can. And they just got to get him to do that.
Yeah,
because that was a tough one. He's got a good corner. He's got Lou Del Valle in there. Lou Del Valle's a very good fighter. So
yeah,
there it is. All right, let's talk about the next fight on the undercard here. Gary Russell Jr. versus Jojo Diaz Jr. for the WBC featherweight title. Gary Russell Jr. won a unanimous decision over Jojo Diaz by the scores of 115, 113, and 117, 111 twice. I got to be honest here, man. I didn't score the fight, but Gary Russell, I thought the fight was, I don't know if it was maybe 116, 112, 8 rounds to 4, 7 rounds to 5. I thought Jojo Diaz did a really good job here, man. I did. I didn't expect him to be
I told you he would, Eric. I told you. I told you he would.
I didn't expect him to be that competitive, but he was in the fight, I thought. This would be fairly easy for Russell, but Diaz was anything but that, man. Gary Russell said that he wasn't interested in fighting a lot. He just wants to maximize his paydays. That's what they were saying on the broadcast. I got to be honest, man. He looked very rusty last night. He really did. And I think Al Bernstein hit it on the head. If Jojo Diaz would throw more punches, he's going to get the win. And because Bernstein said that he needs to throw more punches, but he's right. If Jojo, I really do. Maybe he doesn't beat the maximized version of Gary Russell, but I think he beats Gary Russell if he throws more shots. Beeb, what were your thoughts? Because you had a different opinion on Russell, I think. What was your thoughts on this fight?
I only gave Diaz 3 rounds. I gave him the 2nd and the 5th and the 12th. I thought he had some good moments, but he kept just walking forward and not throwing punches. He was just trying to close the gap, but not really set anything up. He was catching a lot of shots on the glove early on, but he was still getting partially hit. And Russell was still getting some of those sneaky punches through the guard. And Diaz really was not landing a lot of shots at all. I thought Russell definitely was having his way on the outside. He landed a lot of good straight lefts and some decent right hooks on the outside. But also he was hanging in there on the inside with Diaz too. He was throwing some good body shots in there. But the thing was Diaz would walk forward. He would have Russell up against the ropes, and he just wasn't firing. He was definitely looked to me like he was wary of being countered. Definitely looked to me like he had problems with that hand speed. And it's understandable. Gary Russell has incredibly fast hands. I thought Diaz did do some good work. There would be times when he'd land a good body shot, land a nice right hand upstairs, but he just did not do enough work. He would allow Gary Russell to win like the first 2.5 minutes of the round, and then he tried to steal the round at the end, and it just wasn't enough for me to give him a lot of rounds in this fight. I thought he was definitely being picked apart. I think that Russell was definitely more accurate, and he was landing cleaner shots. Not all the shots were landing clean, but there was a lot of them that were. And some of the punches, you throw some pretty pat combinations, and maybe to catch the judge's eye. But there were still a lot of shots that Russell was getting off and he was landing cleanly. And Diaz just came forward. I don't know what the plan was. I mean, was he expecting, Russell to just stop punching, and then after he threw his combination, he was going to try to, get his shots off? I don't know. I mean, he when he saw that wasn't working, he had to kind of take some chances in there because he wasn't going to win rounds just moving forward and pushing, Russell back and keeping his hands, up by his ears, fighting in like a peekaboo ear muff type stance, and not throwing punches back. You're not going to win rounds like that. You're just not, especially in the guy's backyard. So I think he did do well, because a lot of people thought that he wouldn't have any success, that he would just get, destroyed in there. A lot of people expected him to get stopped. He didn't get stopped. He had some success. I think in the last round he had, Gary Russell hurt, but it was just a little too late. And it is what it is. Does what happens moving forward? I don't know. Maybe he could have some success against a guy like maybe Leo Santa Cruz. But even then, like, Leo Santa Cruz is a guy that has pretty quick hands too, and he just blankets you with punches. So I don't know. I think it's going to be a tough road for Jojo Diaz. Definitely has a fan-friendly style and a thin style, and he doesn't quit in there. He fights hard. But I just think these other guys are a little bit more athletically gifted than him. And, you're going to have to have more at this level than just being a tough, gritty guy. This division is just too talented. You got Abner Myers, you got Leo Santa Cruz, you got Kyle Frampton, and you got Gary Russell Jr. So it's a tough division, man. It's a real tough division.
How did you think, did you think he looked rusty at all?
I didn't. I thought it's amazing how sharp the guy looks, even with these long layoffs. And Jojo Diaz definitely brought the fight to him. He appeared to be a bigger guy. It looked like maybe after the second round that maybe that pressure could be a problem. But I got to give Gary Russell credit. I mean, he just kept with the game plan. He kept throwing punches. Not every punch was a home run. He just kept scoring points. And every now and then he would land a nice, sharp combination in there. You could see that he was stunning Diaz a little bit. Diaz didn't look like staggered, hurt, or anything like that, but you could tell that he was keeping Diaz honest with some of those shots. Definitely.
What were your thoughts, Robert?
I think this loss is going to be good for JoJo. I think he'll be able to go back and look at the tape, understand what he did right and what he did wrong, and I think he will be a better fighter going forward. I think if he gets another shot at Gary Russell or the winner of the Santa Cruz Morris fight, or even Oscar Valdez, I think he'll learn a lot from this and realize, okay, these are the mistakes I made. These are the things I did right. I think he'll learn from this, and I think he'll be a better fighter because of it. I think JoJo had a lot of trouble with Gary Russell's hand speed, and I think that's one of the things that threw him off. I think that's one of the reasons why he kept going forward, but I'm like everybody else. I don't understand why he didn't throw punches. It's okay to go forward, but go ahead and throw punches. If you get hit, you get hit, but you've got to throw punches and keep the other guy honest. Again, both of these fights mirrored one another. Both of the champions that were defending their titles were in their hometowns. It was up to both individuals who were in their hometowns, the ones that were visiting, to actually show the judges and show the people that they deserve to win the fights. And I think in both cases, both Jojo Diaz and Badou Jack, came up short. They didn't do enough when you're on the other guy's home turf. But I think JoJo will learn from this, and I think he'll be a better fighter because of this.
There you go. What do you guys think about Leo Santa Cruz, Gary Russell? Because Leo Santa Cruz is going to get by Abner Maris. I don't even know why they're having that fight again.
I don't either.
It's not like anybody's clamoring for it. What do you think about Santa Cruz Russell?
That's a tough fight.
Really tough fight.
I would edge.
Very tough.
That's a tough fight. Wow. I would edge Gary Russell a little bit. because I'll tell you why. I think Santa Cruz is definitely a volume guy. He's going to throw a lot of punches, but that's what a counter puncher like Gary Russell likes. Jojo Diaz was coming forward, and he wasn't stepping in. He wasn't trying to jab his way in. He was just coming forward. Leo Santa Cruz is going to come forward, and he's going to throw a lot of punches. And Gary Russell is just so quick. So if he decides that I'm going to sit there and I'm going to punch with the guy, then Gary Russell's shots will probably get there quicker, And Jojo Diaz is a big, strong guy. Leo Santa Cruz is kind of a big featherweight, but we saw that Gary Russell could handle Jojo Diaz's physicality. I just think that Gary Russell's just a sharp guy that can really change things up. Doesn't have to fight the entire fight one way. He can step on the gas when he needs to. He can be the counterpunch when he needs to. So he's dangerous moving forward and he's dangerous moving backward. And he has pretty sharp power in both hands. So I could see Leo Santa Cruz coming in and getting caught with a sneaky left uppercut. I could see Leo Santa Cruz getting knocked down in this fight. I just think because he's just such an energetic guy that throws a lot of punches, that is a perfect style, I think, for Gary Russell to be able to land some counter shots there. So
I would favor Santa Cruz in that one, to be honest. I think that Santa Cruz is going to be much busier, and just based on the performance I saw last night, I would favor Santa Cruz in there. I think that he just overwhelmed Gary Russell. Robert, what about you?
Yeah, no, I like Leo in the fight. And you know what this sets up? This sets up a wonderful tournament if you think about it. You have Santa Cruz eliminate Morris. You have Santa Cruz fight Russell. And you have Jojo Diaz fight Valdez. And then later on, the two winners, whether it's Santa Cruz or Russell, can fight the winner of Diaz and Valdez. Without it being advertised as such, I think it's a wonderful tournament format. And, great fights in this division. I like it.
All right. And Georgie Porgy's in the chat, and he just asked, where's the belt at? It's right around my shoulder where it's going to stay this week. That's right.
It was a draw. The champion doesn't lose the title on the draw, Georgie.
Tell him, Robert. That's right. Tell him. Stays right here, son. All right. Let's talk about across the pond here. Lee Selby versus Josh Warrington for the IBF featherweight title. Josh Warrington is the new IBF featherweight champion by defeating Lee Selby by the scores of 116-112, 115-113, and 115-113 the other way. Beeb, what were your thoughts on this fight? And did you think Josh Warrington won? He won a split decision here, but did you think he won outright?
I thought Josh Warrington won clearly, 116-112, maybe even 117-111. I thought he got off to a fast start. And here's the difference. Josh Warrington reminds me of Ricky Hatton, but much more refined and with a little bit of slickness added to that. Josh Warrington did something that Jojo Diaz needed to do. And when he came forward, he was trying to close the distance against Lee Selby. Definitely, Lee Selby's a guy that is a long, lanky guy and has an excellent jab, and he likes to throw those straight punches from the outside. He likes to dictate the pace of the fight and fight at a distance. He can mix it up a little bit on the inside, but his game is the outside. We already know that. He's a big, tall, lanky featherweight with a sharp jab, and he can pretty much control most guys with that jab alone. But the thing was Josh Warrington was very quick on his feet. He threw a very snappy, pesky jab, peppered his way in, and when he got in there, he was just cranking up those left hooks, uppercuts, ripping the body. This guy was relentless, but he was very slick too. Like he wasn't just walking in and barreling in and throwing haymakers. No, he was stepping in, throwing a little peppery jab, working his way in, little Mike Tyson-esque in there when he tried to work his way in, moved his head, do a little feint, quick snap jab. Got Josh Warrington, got Lee Selby occupied with that. And I think just Selby had a hard time dealing with the pressure of Josh Warrington. And, the heads clash, but that's because Warrington gets low, comes up, and he's punching when he's coming up. And when you got a short guy in with a tall guy, you know, sometimes the short guy gets low. He's coming up. He's gonna hit. You know, he's gonna hit the head of the taller guy. Some people think, well, how can that happen? Well, because the taller guy has to kind of lean in a little bit just to get his shots because he's punching down. So you got one guy punching down, the other guy coming up. So the heads will clash in an instance like that. That happens. But I thought, Lee Selby was very game. I thought he won some of the middle rounds. I thought he won the last round. But I thought that Warrington just fought a real tough, dogged, determined fight in there, and he was just too much. When he closed the gap, Lee Selby couldn't deal with him. He couldn't deal with the inside fighting and the short, crisp, sharp punches on the inside because Warrington just worked when he was on the inside, got physical. He pushed Selby back. He appeared to be stronger. It was just a really, really solid performance from Warrington. And I thought Selby was going to win. I thought Selby was going to control this fight from the outside. I thought Warrington would be walking into a lot of jabs and straight punches, and it just wasn't the case. It just was not the case. He got low. He fainted. He was very busy. Threw a peppery jab, as I said, and he would not be denied. He dictated how this fight was going to be fought. He made this fight a dog fight, a war, and that was not the fight that Lee Selby wanted. But he had to succumb to that type of style because he just could not keep Warrington off him, and that was the big difference. Could not keep Warrington off him. Warrington was on him like a blanket, and there was just nothing he could do. But I think the fight now that's going to happen is Carl Frampton and Warrington. I think that's a hell of a fight, and I edge Warrington in that fight, believe it or not. I edge Warrington in that fight. I think that the pressure that he brings. And I know Carl Frampton's a good counterpuncher. He's dangerous moving backward. He can fight on the inside a little bit, but I just think Warrington is stronger. I think he's a little bit more physical than Frampton, and I think he can muscle him on the inside, push him back, knock him off balance, and take him Frampton out of his comfort zone. And I think he can grind out a victory over Frampton just like he did, Lee Selby.
All right. So how does Warrington stack up against, like, say, let's say a Gary Russell? Yeah, I mean, do you give him a good shot in that fight? I mean, or a Leo Santa Cruz? I mean,
I would still favor Gary Russell, but the big difference here is, like I said, you got a guy who can apply pressure, but he's creative with the pressure. He's a little slick. He's got pretty decent hand speed himself, but he's very quick on his feet, and he's gonna throw punches. He's gonna make you work on the inside. I would still favor Gary Russell because I think Gary Russell is just quicker all around, and I think he's probably a better counterpuncher. But the fight would be very difficult for Gary Russell. It would be very difficult. If people scored that fight 115, 113 for Gary Russell over Jojo Diaz, then this fight would be a pick'em fight if those same people were scoring it. But I would still favor Gary Russell. But I think Josh Warrington, because he's such a physically strong, he's a real good inside fighter. I just think he's a tough fighter for anybody. I'm not saying he would beat everybody. Santa Cruz would be a war. I'd probably edge Santa Cruz in that fight. But again, these are all fights that are winnable for Warrington. It's not like he doesn't have a shot. It's just about these other guys being a little bit quicker and just being a little bit more sharper than he is. But he's still good enough to hang with those guys, and he can make it a tough fight for either one of those guys.
Wow. And what's the deal with Frampton? Because I'm hearing that Warrington and Frampton is possible for the next fight. Frampton has kind of dropped off the face of the earth after that loss to Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
He's fought since then. He's had a couple of fights and he's got a couple of wins, but he's not been the same. I mean, he's not fighting like upper echelon competition here. I mean, you figure like one or two comeback fights, but now he should be in full swing coming back, but he's not.
It was almost like his confidence was shaken in that Santa Cruz fight for whatever reason. Then he changed management. I understand that. He got away from Barry McGuigan. Barry McGuigan, I think, was his manager, one of his managers anyways. but it just seemed like something after that fight. Some fighters take losses harder than others, and for whatever reason, he just seemed like he felt the need to have to rebuild himself. After when Santa Cruz lost to him, he went right back at him. Got the rematch, and he's fought tough fights ever since then. Whereas Frampton loses, and he doesn't really even he feels the need that he has to go back into rebuilding mode. He's got to get some tune-ups or whatever. And it's not like he was on a long layoff. It wasn't like there was a horrible loss. I thought he lost the fight, but it wasn't like he got blown out of there or he got whitewashed. He still made a good account of himself. And it was an 8-4 type fight, 116, 112-ish. He had some moments in there, but at the end of the day, he just wasn't. It doesn't appear to be the same after that. In his last two fights, even against Nonito Donaire, and there's another Mexican type fighter that he fought. I thought that he narrowly beat the Mexican guy, and I thought that Nonito Donaire had some good moments in that fight. He actually landed some good shots, and in some points of that fight, I think he buzzed Frampton, which was something I didn't expect. I thought Frampton would win the fight handily, but that wasn't the case. So even though he stepped down in competition a little bit, he didn't look great against his last two opponents. So I don't know if that's the case of him just being a little bit, not the same fighter, or basically if it's a situation where he fought down to the level of his opposition. I don't know. So that's something that we're going to have to see moving forward as he steps back up into the upper echelon type guys. But if the Frampton that I saw in his last two fights shows up in the Warrington fight, he's going to lose. Definitely going to lose.
Yeah, he's not been good lately, man. That's for sure.
No, he hasn't been. He hasn't looked sharp at all.
And typically, I tell you, when you got a fighter who hasn't looked sharp in a while, that doesn't come back. Especially off a loss, if he doesn't come back sharp, it's tough to get it back, man. That's for sure. Tough to get it back. All right. In Mexico this weekend on BN Sports, Omar Chavez versus Juan Carlos Paz. Yeah, nobody saw this fight, by the way. From what I read, it was a very non-impressive performance by Omar Chavez, and he lost. So Juan Carlos Paz apparently just outworked him for the full 10 rounds, it looks like, on all scorecard. 97-93 on one, 97-94 on the other two, all for Juan Carlos Paz. So there you go. Not a good outing for Chavez, Omar Chavez, the son of Julio Cesar Chavez. If you guys are wondering, and I know you guys are sitting on the edge of your seat wondering when Chavez Jr. is expected to return to the ring, I'm hearing July or August at super middleweight. So there you go. I don't even know they can make super middleweight anymore. So there it is. All right. Let's go to the phones real quick. Beeb, you know what time it is? It's time for Ohio in the building. OH.
Hi-yo.
It is. 614, you're live.
What?
Yes, 614, hello? You're live.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
How's it going?
Well, all right.
Oh, man. Tired at work. I don't know, man. I think I had my Stevie Wonder glasses on when I seen the Gary Russell fight. I had it a lot closer than 117 and 111. A lot of people had it that way. I don't know, man. I'm going to have to go back and watch that fight again. That's what I'm going to have to do. Gary Russell looked good. He did look good. I felt Diaz was ripping shots to the body. Now, he wasn't throwing as much, but he was landing some of the harder shots. I mean, like, you can say he was bigger. And I felt Gary Russell at the third round that I think I gave him, I think it was the third round or second, but Gary started to throw combinations and keep Diaz from walking him down, because Diaz was just trying to walk him down. It was like, you can't hurt me, I can hurt you. And that's what it was looking like. But he just wasn't throwing enough. From Beeb said he gave him only 3 rounds. I think I heard a lot of people say they gave Diaz 3 rounds. I gave him more. I think he stole a couple rounds. But like I said, I'm going to have to go back and see that fight again.
A lot of people agree with you. I heard just as many people say the fight. I heard just as many people say the fight was 115, 113 than said 117, 111. I mean, you could be right. I mean, a lot of you don't have to second guess your scorecard. I mean, one of the judges had it the same way you had it. So,
but what was the Adonis Stevenson and Badou Jack? It was a slow fight at first. One thing I don't like, the game plan Badou Jack had was smart. I think it was a good game plan, but you're fighting in somebody's hometown. If your game plan is to slow him down in the later rounds, let him fatigue for the first 4 or 5 rounds, maybe 6, and then you step it up, you're supposed to knock him out. You're in his hometown, and you're going to let it go to the cards. I think it was a draw. There's no way. You got to finish him in his hometown. You got to finish him. I just don't like game plans like that where it seemed like Badou Jack purposely lost the first 6 rounds. I was just like, what is he doing? I mean, they both really wasn't doing anything, to be honest. But it seemed like it's just like Lamont Peterson and Danny Garcia all over again. It was like Lamont was just letting Danny just go in, and then Lamont just turned it on, but you turn it on too late. You can't give up some of those rounds in the early. If that's your game plan, win the 2nd round and win the 4th round, and then go ahead and go into the game. But I don't like when fighters want to give up almost damn near 6 rounds and then come back and win the next 6 and feel like they won. And I mean, win the 6 rounds almost impressively. But he got hurt in the 10th. I don't know if y'all saw that, but Badou Jack got hurt.
Oh yes, he did.
That wasn't part of the game plan. So I mean that definitely wasn't part of the game plan. He got hurt and was backing up. So I just don't like stuff. I definitely don't like seeing that, man. It seemed like he was purposely giving them up. But I didn't want. That's all I wanted to say, guys. Man, love the show, and I'm out.
Awesome.
Thanks
man.
for your call, buddy.
From the great state of Ohio. That's right. We always get good callers from Ohio. Beeb, would you agree with that?
No.
How dare you?
I love the UK, but Ohio is like my 3rd home.
3rd home? How dare you?
Thinking about getting a nice house out in Cleveland.
Well, LeBron will have one for sale shortly.
How dare you? LeBron is not going anywhere. He's staying home. He is staying home. All right, let's talk about the upcoming fights before we go back to the phones here. So, May 25th, which I believe is Friday. Is that correct, Robert?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
You get what? Did you say you guess or yes?
No, I said yes, it is.
No, I said yes.
Okay. I thought Robert was losing his touch, man.
I know it was Friday because that's Linda's birthday.
Oh, very good. Well, happy birthday to Linda.
Happy birthday to Linda.
Yes.
Absolutely, man. All right, May 25th in Tokyo. Now, I don't have a TV. I don't have anything associated with it, but this should be a good one. Jamie McDonnell versus Naoya Inoue, 12 rounds for McDonnell's WBA regular bantamweight title. So, Beeb, that's a good fight, no?
Oh, yeah.
I think that's a really good fight.
That's an interesting fight.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like it better if it took place in the UK, but it's in Tokyo. I mean, that's a good fight, man. That's a very good fight. And you know what? I'm curious to see if his power carried up with him, and I'm curious to see how he handles McDonnell. I mean, is he the real deal? I don't know, man, but we're going to find out because that's a good fight. That is a very good fight.
That's one of Corey's crushes. So we'll
Oh,
wow!
Going in already.
Ripping up Corey.
Taking the shot.
Too, man. Corey's turned a new leaf. He's got a show. What is it? Corey Lee Boxing. There you go, man.
I like Corey's show. I watch Corey all the time.
All right. May 26th from Fresno, California on ESPN Plus. Jerwin Anacahas versus Jonas Sultan. 12 rounds. I think it's Sultan. It's Sultan. 12 rounds for Anacahas' IBF junior bantamweight title. Khalid Yafai, Cal Yafai versus David Carmona, 12 rounds for Yafai's WBA Junior Bantamweight title. And those will be on ESPN Plus. And in case you're wondering, yeah, you got to pay for them. $4.99 a month for the app.
$5, people.
Yeah, I'm not too pressed about it. So maybe I'll catch it on YouTube or something like that. I don't know. Maybe I'll save my free month for the Crawford Horn and then just cancel it after the free month. I don't know.
Actually, you get a free week. That's all you get.
Wow, really?
Cut it out. Are you serious?
Yep.
Get out of here.
Do they at least give you a T-shirt?
Yeah, it's only 7 days, guys. It's only 7 days. I thought it was 30, but when they had their last ESPN TV card, Joe Tessitore kept pointing out, you only get a week, man. You only get a week.
You got to pack a big league chew bubble gum with it? Come on.
I think it fucking sucks. These fights should be on regular TV, not a fucking app.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, I mean, that fight is not, you know. Listen, it is what it is. It's pay-per-view, right, Beeb? I mean, am I wrong here?
It is pay-per-view.
Pay-per-view, right?
No, that's pay-per-view. You're making people watch on their phones, and you're making them pay for it.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question, Eric, because you're a tech guy.
That's true. That's very true. I'm a very good.
Can a stream, regardless of how high quality it is, can it ever be as good as a television signal? Yes or no?
No.
It's impossible, right?
No.
Yeah. No, you can't.
Impossible.
No.
So it's already, a step down in terms of quality. There's no question about it.
Yeah, I mean, and to pay for that, I mean, like, you know, and listen, not that $4.99 is going to make or break you, okay? But look, man, I mean, look at the programming they're putting on there. It's not like stellar programming.
No.
You know, I mean, Jerwin Anakajas versus Sultan. I mean, come on, man. That's not like, you know what? I tell you what. You know what I want to see? I want to see Naoya Inoue versus Jamie McDonald. That's what I want to see. You know.
And you know what's funny too, because I mentioned how oversaturated the market is. I was watching Warrington and Selby on Showtime, the Showtime YouTube channel, you know, and they didn't charge me anything. Showtime is killing it. They are killing it.
And that was on their YouTube channel, right? It wasn't on their.
Yes, they streamed it on their YouTube channel.
Yeah, they put it on their YouTube and they put it on their Facebook.
Showtime is killing it.
Yeah, I would agree with that, man.
You know,
shout out to Showtime.
Look, we're boxing people. We watch fights, but how many boxing fans are going to legitimately want to pay for an ESPN app for boxing for $4.99, and then you got Eddie Hearn making his ridiculous deal with a site that most people have never heard of, and they want to charge $20 a month. Really? Look, maybe I'm old-fashioned, maybe I'm too old, I don't know. But if you want to get my attention, it's got to be on my TV. I mean, I'm paying enough money to DirecTV to provide me with the entertainment that I'm paying for. And those of you on cable, you're doing the same thing. None of this stuff is cheap. So why are you going to make people pay more money? Get out of here with this crap.
Well, that's the thing too, is that the Zone or whatever, the Eddie Hearn thing, that for $20 a month, or they're speculating $20 a month. I think that's what everybody else is paying for it. So, you know, that stream right there is like almost like the ESPN Plus, you know, where you're getting you're getting different sports. It's not even like boxing 24/7. It's just some other, nonsense. You know, you can watch darts, you know, I mean, really, it's like, rugby or European, like stuff that most people stateside anywhere are not going to be interested in. And I know everybody in England is going to be interested, but it's a hard sell for the States to pay $20 for this. You know, I mean, it just is. It's a tough sell. I've always wanted to pay. I would pay for Box Nation. I would pay for Box Nation. I would get the fights on Box Nation. It's not available to us.
Oh, absolutely.
But,
yeah.
Hey, I mean,
if it was ever on our TV, you better believe I'd pay for Box Nation. Of course, we're paying
for that one, you know. But this ESPN Plus, and even if it's $4.99, I don't care. My son, he watches the WWE, and so we got the WWE Network for him or whatever. and he's the stream is very good. I can't really complain about the stream. The stream is very good, and we put it on the regular TV. It's got the app on Apple TV or whatever. We put it on the regular TV, and it looks crisp. I mean, it really does. Is it as crisp as like regular cable? No. I mean, it's close. It's real close, but not So.
And the WWE Network is $10 a month.
Right. Which is their content 24/7. The Zone is $20 a month with some boxing.
And this is the thing. If they're only going to show 16 fights, that's what's it? They're going to start in June, and they got 16 fights. They're saying from June to December.
Mm-hmm.
How many fights is that a month?
Yeah, and I know they're ironing out.
It's not a lot of fights.
And they're ironing fights. Yeah, well, and does he have that many fighters in the stable to do those kind of fights? That's what I was wondering too. I mean, like when PBC started, okay, we knew that Heyman had a ton of fighters. And I think people got frustrated because not all of them were fighting, and some of the matchups weren't the greatest. But we knew he had the fighters to fill those slots. I'm not 100% sure Matchroom has the fighters to fill those slots. And I'm not 100% sure he can get those fighters. I don't know. But again, I mean, we're
going to talk about Eddie Hearn later in the show because it's disappointing what's going on right now.
Wow. Okay. All right. I know where you're going with it. Also on Saturday, from Biloxi, Mississippi, on Fox Sports 1, Eddie Ramirez versus Argenis Mendez, 10 rounds junior welterweights. And then let's see here. From Quebec City, your boy David Lemieux versus Kareem. 12 rounds middleweights. And that is not set to be televised. And that's it. That's let's see if there's anything after that. It looks like that's it. Yeah.
That's horrible.
Yeah. Listen, man, I tell you what though, Jerwin Anakajas is one of my favorite fighters. I like watching him fight.
I agree.
I think he's a great fighter.
I agree.
I like Cal Yafai. I'd like to see that one too. It just it's a tough sell for me to pay for that fight. It just is. The fight I really want to see this weekend, people. Jamie McDonald versus Naoya Inoue. What do you guys think about that? Beeb, let's backtrack a little bit. Who do you think wins that fight?
Wow.
That's a fight, right? That's a good one, yeah.
Pick 'em. Put a gun to my head. You put a gun to my head.
Yeah.
I just don't know enough about Inoue, though. That's the thing.
I mean, we're going to find out. He's relatively young, man, so we're going to find out.
Wow. That's a tough one, man. Who do you like?
I like, listen, man, if it was in the UK, I'd like McDonald. Given the fact that it's in Japan, I got to go with Inoue.
Yeah, I'm gonna edge Inoue. I'm gonna edge Inoue because I like McDonald a lot. I really do.
I do too. I think he's a good, and I think it's going to be one of those things where we're going to find out what this guy's made of.
He can box, that kid.
Real quick.
That kid, he can box.
Yeah, we're going to find out what he's made of real quick. What were you going to say, Robert?
This brings up a very good point. I know this is not in the agenda, but with the recent Supreme Court decision allowing states to put up places where you can gamble on sports, how many places are we going to be able to gamble for boxing? Because I know Beeb uses 5 Dimes and there's other internet sites, but I wonder how many states, especially those that have fights, is it going to be easier to bet on fights now?
I think so. I think within a year. It'll be everything will be stateside. You know what I mean? And because everything is offshore now, and it's safer
right
for us anyway. People in the States, they're obviously it's going to be safer to do it not offshore, and it's going to be safer to do it stateside. Whether it is or isn't is immaterial. That's how we're going to view it. That's how most people in the United States are going to view it. is that it will be safer. Now, whether it is or not, again, that goes, you know.
Now, Beeb, you bet on fights. You like I said, you use 5 dimes. Is this going to make it easier for you to place bets?
Oh yeah, this is a great move. You know, it's a great move. But the thing, Robbie, we have to find out though is because every state is going to be different. Not all the states are going to. I think there's going to be different, you know, laws for different states. Now, did you hear this was all across the board? Because I was reading that maybe some states are going to you know, adopt it, and other states may not. Have you heard anything about that?
Oh no. No, because what's going to happen is it's going to be up to each state legislator, and they're all
going to vote on it, right? Each state's going to vote on it, right?
The people in Nevada have told various states, if you want to set up, you know, sports books and do it properly, you need to send representatives to Nevada so you can learn how to do it.
Yeah, because that's what I heard. I heard that, you know, not all the states are going to have it. So we'll see. Right. Hopefully, Massachusetts will have it. I know Ohio may have it. I don't know.
I know California's going to have it. They've already got things in place.
Ohio may not have it because they don't have our technology, but
Ohio's way ahead of the curve as far as technology goes. Let me tell you that right now. Ohio leads. You know, I mean, hey, listen, we're the Midwest. What's better than that? There you go. The capital of the Midwest.
But no, talking about this fight though, I think it's going to be very close. And if I had to make a choice, I'll pick McDonald to steal it.
Wow. Yeah, Eric makes a good point because normally I would pick McDonald too, but it's in Japan.
That's the
why is it in Japan?
Gotta be money. McDonald's not traveling without getting paid.
Yeah, he must be getting paid.
It's got to be cash, man.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. 100%. He got more money for it. You know, and then as far as like the Jerwin Anakaha's fight and everything like that, those are all showcase fights. That's not going to be anything major for him. So if you want to plunk down $5 a month to watch it, be my guest. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Good luck. We'll report on him next week, but nobody will watch him.
There you go. There you go. All right. We're going to go back to the phones here. Maybe.
He's a fucking mental case is what he is.
Robert. How you guys doing?
What's up,
We're
man?
all right.
Jason.
What's going on, Matt? How did you guys like another great weekend of fights by Showtime and PBC? 3 title fights from 3 different countries. Who does that? I mean, who's doing shit like that in boxing, to be honest, really? Let's put it all on the table. Who's doing that shit? Anybody? Anybody making these kind of big moves? Anybody?
I love
the
Jason
man
calls.
you represent, of course.
I mean, I wish I represented him. I would have a lot more money in my account. I really wish I did. I mean, he doesn't talk for him. He doesn't defend himself. That's the only thing I don't like about him. And if I was him, I'd be out there smacking fucking Steve Kim every time I had a great fight. I'd be like, "This is what you're bashing me for, motherfucker."
Oh, how dare
That's what I would be saying.
What's wrong with Steve Kim?
Well, he leaves that up to other people like you, Jason.
I'm trying to get Steve Kim on the show.
There's not enough of me. That's the problem. There's not enough of me. There's only one of Jason. You know, I mean, I can only be at so many places at one time.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
And you worship Steve Kim too much to ever give Al Heyman any fucking credit, so I have to do it.
Oh,
I mean, shit.
I always bust him.
Anyway, no, seriously, what was your opinion on the fight?
I was more impressed by Jojo Diaz than I was Gary Russell. I don't know what the hell was wrong with him. I actually noticed he was tired after the first fucking round. I've never seen he had his mouth wide open. He was like he's yelling and screaming after throwing every punch. You know, when he like kind of gassed out, he started screaming and shit. After for 1 or 2 rounds, he was fucking like he looked drained to me. I don't know what was wrong with him. And Diaz looked like I mean, he got tired too, but later on, I guess Gary caught a second win. But Gary looked washed, man. I don't know what he's doing with his training camp, what kind of training he's doing over there in fucking Maryland. But
and he tried to tell everybody he hurt his hands again. I hear that after every fight he fights. It's like, really? Come on.
Dan Raphael said he got paid $1.4 million last night. I was like, what the fuck? I mean,
that's
probably why. That's probably because
Raphael?
Somebody was trying to sign him, and I'm guessing some other promoters are trying to sign him, and that's probably why Heyman paid him so much.
Since when are you believing Dan Raphael? Weren't you just trashing him like not too long ago?
I was trapping him for releasing purses before the fight happens. He released the purses after the fight happens. That's when it's accurate. Jesus, and I was right.
That's what it
when
was.
He said Mikey and them were making $3 million, but I was proven right.
Yeah, well,
also, Beeb, while we're talking about these fights, can you go ahead and pull up Twitter and go follow this account called DAZN Sucks, DAZNSUCKS. It's full of dozens of Canadian customers that actually had to buy Eddie's app in Canada for NFL because DAZN acquired the NFL rights for somehow. And it was one of the biggest disasters. It's like full of dozens of customers saying it's like the stream is horrible, it's choppy, it keeps loading, and the games don't start on time. So can you go check out their customer reviews while we talk?
Yeah, I know people in Canada because I used to live there, Jason, and I've heard nothing but crap about this thing.
But just do me a favor and go follow that account or just read them. DAZN Sucks just for yourself. And there's videos on it and testimonials from like Canadian customers, like dozens of them saying the same fucking shit. It's a piece of shit app. It doesn't even start on time. They said like this. One guy said, the stream didn't even start in the fight with Amir Khan, and the record was over already. It's funny as hell.
The fight only went 20 seconds.
We need to go check that out. There's a lot of good material on there.
Yeah, I'm reading it right now.
Real customers from Canada.
Wow. Reading it right now.
Meaningful in the chat. Just Hearn's going to put a hit out on Jason.
Once again, wow, listen to this.
I can't.
This is crazy. They got like a hotline you can call to complain about these guys.
Yeah, see?
This is nuts.
They said that no matter how much you call, they never respond to you, and then they blame you for having bad service. They said they're like a Russian fucking company with like Russian thugs running it. It's like these are not professional people. These are like Russian crooks.
In fairness, though,
and Eddie Hearn wants to give these people his money. I mean, oh, come on, really?
But in fairness,
no, Eddie Hearn's not giving him their money. They're giving Eddie Hearn the money for his brand. Eddie's not losing anything.
But
no,
Eddie's trying to scam us. Eddie's trying to scam us.
Jason, hang on.
They're a horrible service. I've heard nothing but terrible things about them.
In fairness, I'm sure there's something called DirecTVSucks.com too. So just kind of keep that in mind. There is. Yeah, just kind of keep that in mind. So, all right, Jason, you're back.
But Eddie Hearn always talks about value for money. ESPN Plus is way better value for money. Way better. They have the fight library and shit. So they have better fights. And DAZN has no talent yet. Who's he going to sign? Billy Dibb and Rod Salka? I mean, who the fuck is he going to sign?
Rod Salka's not bad.
Well,
maybe like Brian Jennings. Chris Ariola. Who else?
Chris Ariola.
Did you check out that cat Twitter account, Beeb?
I did. I just retweeted one of those tweets with the hotline number.
Going, man. Keep going, bro. Keep going. There's like fucking 50, 60 messages from fans. It's all the same shit. They said they can't even get refunds, and they start blaming. Go ahead.
I'm gonna tell you right now, man. I am very skeptical about how that's going to do in the United States. I just don't see a lot of people subscribing to that. I really the market is just, especially what I saw yesterday. Showtime is giving me fights for free on their YouTube channel and on Facebook, on YouTube and on Facebook. I mean, come on, man.
The World Boxing Super Series did the same thing on YouTube. Why would I? You better give me
World
something
Boxing Series
good.
Way better.
You better give me something good for $20 a month.
And who are these fighters that he signed?
They put
Who are these supposed fighters
on YouTube also?
Who?
Donaire versus Frampton was on YouTube and Facebook for Showtime also, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Was it?
Yes.
Yes, it was.
Yep. Yes, it was.
So I'm already seeing all like.
And I'm
Showtime is so ahead of everyone else. They're showing so many worldwide fights. It's amazing.
They're like Ohio. Ohio's ahead of everybody else too.
Yeah, I am a huge fan of Steve.
Now he's ahead of everybody, and he's from Ohio.
That's right. Tell him, Jason. Speak the truth.
And Josh Warrington said he's not going to be ready for the Windsor Park fight that Frampton wants in August or something. He said he's going to want to defend it. But if Warrington and Carl Frampton fight, that's going to be on Showtime, YouTube, and Facebook also. I'm pretty sure, and if they don't air it, that will be on there also.
Yeah, he said he's not going to be ready by August, though.
He deserves a defense, man. He sold like 20,000 tickets. He deserves a defense. He's going to sell a lot of tickets. He should. Why not?
Yeah.
Give him a defense. He ain't a world beater.
Listen, man, I'm not even complaining that he gets a defense. I mean, but just to turn around and do it again in August after that kind of fight, man, that was a tough fight. It wasn't easy. So yeah, give him some time.
I feel bad for Lee Selby, man. He kind of got stuck in the PBC world because there's so many fucking fighters for him to take over. He was like an afterthought. He should have stayed over there in England with Eddie and them. He kind of got fucked over. DeGale got a lot of big fights, but Selby didn't get anything. He was probably rusty, and he got cut up, and he's probably going to be sitting there, lost his belt, looking at his face all cut up. I mean, that kid is probably going through it right now. That sucks right there, man. You know, he didn't even fight anybody good before this. He didn't make any big paydays. But this was probably his biggest payday of his whole life, which is kind of sad. He's had the belt for a while.
Yeah.
And Jack, Stevenson looks washed up too, man. He doesn't have too long to go. He needs a fucking strength and conditioning coach because he doesn't look like he has any of that. And even Jojo Diaz, guys like these, they need to hire strength and conditioning coaches because these guys don't invest in themselves. That's what they need. If Jojo Diaz had a little bit more stamina, I think he would have done a lot better. He kind of gassed out too.
Told you in the chat, Adonis Stevenson needs a time machine, son. He's 40 years old. It ain't all that easy when you're 40 years old. I can tell you that.
People say that he doesn't have fans, but they were chanting his name and shit, and that wasn't even his city. He's from where? He's from Quebec, I guess. He was in Toronto. They were chanting his name, and people are always saying he has no fans. He has no fans.
Anybody from Canada.
That was a pretty lit crowd, and even in Maryland, did you hear the Maryland crowd? That was a pretty loud crowd.
Yeah. Yeah, that place looked pretty packed.
And people say
there wasn't a lot of people there, but I mean,
Dan Raphael said it was pretty much packed, and they said Gary Russell got 1.4 million plus all the gate. He was balling, man. That's why he doesn't fight that often.
Yeah, but you know what? He didn't look that good not fighting that often. I got to be honest. I think
Leo Santa Cruz beats him.
I think Leo.
What do you think?
Beats him. I give him the edge against Leo Santa Cruz or Leo Santa Cruz the edge over Russell. Because if he's not going to fight, man, I mean,
he should fight.
It's
good.
I don't know, man. He's got to fight more often for me. He just does because he looked rusty last.
He doesn't have the drive or the killer instinct. He doesn't. I don't know. He's just happy, content with life, I guess. You know.
Yeah, and if that's the case, man, you probably need to walk away. I don't know.
He should probably fight Valdez or Mars. Those are the only guys that he could probably beat. I don't think he can beat Leo or Frampton. I don't think so.
I think he beats Frampton.
Maybe Frampton.
Yeah, I think he beats Frampton.
Yeah, Leo definitely not Leo. Leo.
No, I don't think so.
Leo's my boy. He's gonna beat Mars. Mars is gonna rough him up because he's got Robert Garcia in his corner, and Robert Garcia he likes getting dirty with those guys. So look for Mars to rough Leo up this time. Also, June 28th, Mikey versus Easter is almost done. That will be announced pretty soon after. I guess they'll probably announce it around the Leo and Mars
Jason,
fight.
that's July 28th, not June.
Yeah, you're right. July 28th. And I'm guessing Benavidez is on the undercard, but I don't know who he's fighting. Who do you guys think?
Between Easter and
it's a good
man, you know, I tell you what, Easter made a big mistake by having this fight in LA. I mean, and again, this is one of those things where I know he got paid and everything like that, but if he had the fight in New York or something like that, it would be a little bit different, but he ain't gonna win a decision out that way.
His biggest payday is like $300K, so I'm sure Heyman probably gave him $500-600K for this fight, so he probably can't turn that down.
Yeah, I'm sure he got it. I mean, like I said, man, I'm sure he got paid to go out that way. But yeah, he's not going to win.
Also, let me give a little bit of props to Oscar when I'm always exposing. He got Jojo Diaz $600K last night. That's the same amount of money Ortiz got for Wilder and Peterson got for Spence. That is some good negotiating right there. Jojo Diaz should have been like $300-400. He got $600K, so you should thank Oscar for that.
You know what though?
Guys like Ortiz and Peterson got that. They fought at Barclays.
You know, talking about Golden Boy here for a minute, man. Jojo Diaz lost last night. Jorge Linares lost last week. They got really Ali. They made like and Saddam. Well, aside from Saddam Ali, I mean, they all did really well. I mean, they all gave like really good accounts.
They set him up. They set that guy up, dude. They said that they have options on Munguia. Dan Raphael said they have one fight option on Munguia. They set that kid up, I think.
I don't know about that.
They traded that belt for a star from Mexico.
Yeah, I tell you what though, man. But Munguia, you know, not Munguia, but Linares had a good showing,
Ali.
and Jojo Diaz had a good showing. I thought they both had really good showing. So I don't think they really lost any traction. I really don't. I mean, even though they lost, I mean, I would like to see those guys again.
They lost 2 belts, right? They lost 2 belts. Linares lost his belt, and Ali lost his belt.
Yeah. But
and he was fighting in Long Island somewhere in some small arena. How is he gonna sell tickets now after he loses his belt?
Who? Ali?
Linares and Ali, they don't really sell that many tickets. That's when they need a big matchups to sell tickets. They don't sell them by themselves.
I'm talking about the fighters themselves, though. The
They're not going to make
themselves. I don't think they lost much traction.
I know, but I'm saying they need some money makers, man. I mean, Canelo's out till September. I guess Ryan Garcia is the only one that sells tickets for them right now. Lucas Matisse is about to get knocked out by Manny. Probably he's going to lose if that fight happens.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. It's not like Manny's a whirlwind anymore. So
that's right.
When is Spence's fight? Isn't that June 16th?
June 16th.
Yeah,
yep.
June 16th.
June
coming
16th.
up pretty
Coming up.
Yep.
Coming up. All right, Jason. We're
going to
running,
Are you guys go? Is anybody going? All right. Thanks, guys.
All right,
no,
see
not
ya.
to Texas. No, we're not going
Our
to
weekly
Texas.
call from Mr. Al Heyman.
Wow, Robbie always kills him, boy. Robbie always kills him. Where's Georgie at, man? Where's Georgie at, man? Where's I saw
He was in the chat.
Well,
he was in the chat earlier.
he's upset because he fought to a draw. He doesn't get the belt, man.
Well, of course he's not going to get the belt. What did he think? Did he think he was going to win? He can't possibly think he was going to win.
Hey, it's a 10-point must system. The judges scored it a draw, so this title stays where it is.
Georgie's in rehab. Nah, there's no way, man. There's no way he actually thought he was going to win, did he? I mean, he was probably excited after the first 6 rounds, but I mean, come on, man. You're going to put a bet against me and think you're going to win? Come on, man. It doesn't work like that. 760. You're live.
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
Hey, Brian, what's up?
Yeah, what's happening?
What's happening,
Hey,
man?
it's been some good fights this year. It's been some good fights. What you guys think? This
Oh,
year?
Yeah,
great,
we've had a very good year so far, I would say.
It's been a good year. It's been a good year. That was a draw last night. Hey,
Yeah.
I think some of these fighters need to take notes. Like, you can't fight once a year. You know what I'm saying? Because I was thinking with Stevenson, I think Stevenson could have outboxed Badou Jack, if maybe 5 years ago,
Yeah, I mean,
5
not now,
years ago
though.
when he was hot. He wasted all these years, I was going for Jack. I was like, man, take this dude's belt. It's been 5 years.
Because he's been holding the damn thing hostage.
Hostage. Yeah, he's had it hostage, and that would have I even think Jack will put up, if they rematch, he's gonna beat him. He's gonna beat Stevenson because time is taking toll on him. You could tell, you could see it. He started off real strong. He didn't even start off too strong, to be honest with you. It's not like he landed anything that was solid. He just was controlling the real estate in the beginning. He had good feints, good little jabs, those touch jabs. His jabs aren't solid jabs, huh? They just touch jabs. That's it. But he was landing a lot of body shots in the beginning. But you could see in like round 3, he started fading out. Did you guys see that too?
I said after the second round. I said after the second round.
Yeah,
he was breathing heavy. In his corner, Sugar Hill told him, you need to pick it up. You need to pick it up. And this was like in the 4th and 5th round.
Yeah, I heard that.
And so I got the feeling that he thought he was losing those rounds. Or at least saw the writing on the wall.
I was like, I said, oh, Jack is going to knock him out. But you can't take off no rounds, man. That's another lesson these dudes need to learn. You can't take off. You can't give away rounds, especially if you in somebody else's backyard, and then if you that close, you need to go for the knockout. You might as well just win. If you do plan on taking off rounds, at least plan on knocking them out so it'll be a convincing win, because he thought he got the decision, but he got to look into all those factors. You can't give away rounds, None of these dudes. Broner, he did the same thing. He gave away some rounds. You can't give away rounds and try to win a fight, But it was a good effort. He put forth a real good effort. You guys like that fight? That was a good fight, man.
I thought it was a really good fight. I was entertained, that's for sure. I was, after those first 6 rounds, I'm like, is he going to start to turn it on or what? Because the first 6 rounds were just like, and it's like we said earlier, and like you said, it wasn't like Adonis Stevenson was like this whirlwind in there. I mean, it wasn't like he was hurting him. I mean, he was just winning rounds.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he was, and you just got the feeling if Jack could just step up, and just throw a couple of punches, he's going to win that round. And he couldn't.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Father Time is undefeated. So that's all I can say.
Well, like I said earlier, man, you got to give Stevenson credit for sticking in there as long as he did, and for going the distance, and hey, ultimately coming out with a draw.
Yeah, because he really in the long run, Stevenson had to fight his way to get that draw right there, because Jack was getting ready to take that belt, and I was going for him. Like, he been holding it hostage 5 years, man. But when I was watching the post conference, it was saying how he said he gonna try to stay more busy and this and that. And I was high on Adonis Stevenson when he first beat Chad Dawson. I was like, wow, this guy is amazing. He got that kind of power in that left. But then he just didn't do nothing after that. And that's what takes the toll. He hasn't been in no competitive fight, besides the fanfare, but that was like accidental, so he hasn't really been in no competitive fights and then he 5 years later, now he's setting up a big one, and now he's saying he's gonna stay more busy. Well, guess what? It's too late, homie. It's too late. Jack if they rematch, Jack is gonna take that belt. And I think Jack will put up a good fight with Kovalov for any of them guys. What you think?
I do too. I don't, and you know what? I'll tell you what. I don't know that I favor Badou Jack against Kovalev, but that's not a gimme fight. Put it that way. I think that's a good fight, and I think that fight could very well go either way.
It's a good fight. That's all I'm looking for is good fight. I don't want to see no bully stuff no more. Let's get these good fights going. I think it'll be a good fight. Who the Kovalov? When is that Kovalov fight anyway? He's fighting
Elida Alvarez. And, man, I can't wait for that fight.
August 4th.
Yeah.
August 4th.
Oh, okay.
That's a good fight, man. I tell you what, I'm kind of leaning toward Alvarez in that fight. I think he might get him, man.
Yeah, I was looking at
good fight. Alvarez is no joke. Too. He can fight. He is no joke.
You gotta give Kovalev credit for taking that fight. That's a tough fight.
In the mix of that stuff, or what?
What's that?
You think Andre Ward will try to get back in the mix, or what?
Oh no,
I don't know.
No.
Beeb, what are your thoughts? Do you think Andre Ward comes out?
It's tough to say, man. Part of me says yes, but he's kind of liking retirement, man. He likes that commentator. He's working on Creed too. He's got some stuff going on outside the ring, but the guy looks in phenomenal shape. He's still sparring right now too. So I don't know. He may take that Bellew fight. That they may be able to learn.
That'd be a good fight, man. Him and Bellew. Oh yeah.
Andre Ward is so good, man.
The question is, will he go over to the UK? Because it was hard getting him out of Oakland. So
I don't know.
Yeah. It would have to be something enticing as far as economic for him to come back in that period. It would have to be some kind of good payday. But,
love to see him back.
Maybe he's letting it build up. Yeah. I want to see him back. I wouldn't mind seeing him fight again. It's hopefully. But hey, what you guys been hearing about this Anthony Joshua Wilder thing? What's going on with this, man?
We're going to talk about that. You know what? We're going to talk about that in just a minute. And we're going to talk about that in just a minute. In fact, we're going to go ahead and let you go, and we're going to talk about that right now. Okay.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Awesome, man. Good call.
All right. Good talking to you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Brian.
Stay tuned. We're going to cover it right now.
That's right.
Thanks, man.
All right. News and rumors. First things first. Now, B brought this to my attention earlier about Deontay Wilder, and that he's suspended. Now, if you go to BoxRec and pull up Deontay Wilder, it says the New York State Athletic Commission has suspended him indefinitely. I don't know what this is about. I don't know if it's how factual it is. The New York State Athletic Commission is closed today. Obviously, it's Sunday. I sent an email to them, and we'll give them a call tomorrow. And I also got an email out to my PBC guy, and we'll see if we can try to get this figured out here and see what's going on. But I don't want to jump to any conclusions or anything like that. And again, we don't even know if this is accurate or not. Somebody had said, we'd heard like, could it possibly be like PEDs or something like that? And I don't believe so. Typically with something like that, we don't see that. I mean, Box Rec, you know what I mean, doesn't really report news. So we would have probably seen something come out about that prior to this. That would be my guess. So, Reese Mack just said clenbuterol. Yeah, he's been eating steak in Mexico. So, but we'll keep you. So check the website or tune into us next week, and we should have all the details and all that other good stuff. Now, I'm going to turn this over here in just a second here to Beeb. Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua, are they close to having a fight? We're hearing rumors swirling this entire week that the fight is very close to happening in December. The rumor is that it'll take place at the T-Mobile Center in Las Vegas, that the fight is very, very close. Beeb, what do you know?
Well, we only know what has been put in front of us, and it seems like as soon as one story comes out, there's another story that's right there behind it contradicting the previous story. It was thought that this fight was going to happen in November or December, and it was going to be in Vegas at the T-Mobile. That was the rumor. Now Anthony Joshua comes out in an interview saying that he wants to fight in the UK. But now they're saying that if the fight's going to be, they were saying before, if the fight is going to be in the UK, they would have to be like in September or October. And a fight of that magnitude, that's not a ton of time to promote it, whereas ideally, you would want the fight in November or December because look at all the time you have to promote the fight. You can do a little press tour before the guys start training camp. So, this is the thing. Now they're saying it's not about money, Team Joshua, right? So if it wasn't about money, then why were you so reluctant to offer Deontay Wilder a part of the percentage of the back end money? It wasn't about money. So back then it was about money. So now that you're getting a substantial offer and, you're getting back-end money on top of that substantial offer with the potential to make upwards of $60 to $70 million, which is going to be close to 3 times your biggest purse, right? Why would you turn that down? And people want to talk about the UK fans in they want to talk about the stadium. All right. So you have a big event at a 90-seat stadium. Okay. How big, like how enjoyable of a viewing experience, with all due respect to UK fans, is I know you love being in the environment, the atmosphere, you like the rah-rah, whatever. But at the end of the day, the majority of people watch the fight on pay-per-view in the comfort of their own home. That's the more preferred method of watching boxing. You get the instant replay, you get the all the viewing angles that you don't get when you watch the fight live. But on top of that, you go to a stadium and you sit in the nosebleed seats. It's like watching 2 ants in the ring. You can't, there's so many bad seats at a stadium. So all these, they're affordable, whatever. Yeah, okay, those cheap seats, right? Like, how good are those seats? Like, I know they like the environment, all the cheering, the atmosphere, whatever. Well, then go to New York, go to Times Square on New Year's Eve if you want that. I mean, that's great. You like the crowd. You like to be in a big crowd and a loud and whatever. If you like all that stuff, then go to New York or Times Square or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, the frustrating thing about me is Eddie Hearn's talking about business and how important it is to make good business moves, right? Steven Espinosa himself, he has no dog in the hunt here. He has no horse in the race. He already has Joshua under contract. I know it's expiring soon, but I'm sure he'll be able to maybe re-up with Joshua. It'll be competitive. I don't know if the Zone will be able to show fights exclusively on the streaming thing. But at the end of the day, he still has to deal with Sky. He just signed with Matchroom again, re-up, whatever. But if you're such a smart businessman, right? It's a no-brainer to have this fight in the United States. It's just too much money you're leaving on the table to have this fight in the UK. It's easily $50 million you're leaving on the table extra if you take this fight out of the United States. Think about the site fee that Vegas is going to give you. Okay, think about the live gate. We've seen Canelo Golovkin produced a $27 million live gate with 16,000 people. And the 90,000 people for Klitschko, Joshua, had an 11.5 million gate. The highest grossing fights of all time have all been in the United States. It's not by accident. And the highest selling pay-per-view in the UK is a fight that was televised in the United States, in Vegas. Okay, so that fight, Mayweather-McGregor, did more pay-per-views than Joshua Klitschko. Okay, so there's never been a UK fight that's even been in the top 20 highest selling or highest grossing events in the sport of boxing. Not even in the top 20. Okay, Joshua Klitschko, 53 million. Number 2 before that was Groves Froch 2, and that was like 30 million, 31 million. Okay, you know, Mayweather Pacquiao did 600 million. Mayweather McGregor did 510 million. There's been many fights that have done 100 million or more in the United States in revenue. And this fight, if you put it in the United States, put it in the T-Mobile Arena, people would pay big money for those tickets. A lot of celebrities would pay for those tickets. So if you're talking about how smart of a businessman you are, why would you leave $50 million on the table? Joshua, at the very least, would probably make $60 million for that fight. If the fight's in the UK, he makes probably 26 to 28 million. It's a no-brainer. It just makes no sense that this fight would not happen in the United States. If you're a smart business guy, then why would you not fight in the United States? Why would you leave all that money on the table? And then they're talking about Povetkin. That's not a layup for Joshua. Okay, we've seen both of these guys. Okay, we saw Wilder in his last fight. Almost, he could have easily been stopped in that 7th round. We've seen Joshua against Dillian White hurt badly. Could have been possibly stopped in that fight. Hurt against Klitschko. The longer you push this fight off, okay, the more risk you have of either one of these guys losing. And if either one of these guys lose, it's going to be for a lot less money than if they fight each other. So Povetkin is not an easy fight. Povetkin can fight, okay? Povetkin can punch. Luis Ortiz is going to be somebody's mandatory again. That's another tough fight for either guy. If Wilder fights him again, or if Joshua fights him. So you want to talk about smart business, you want to talk about risk for reward. This fight is a no-brainer, okay? And it's a no-brainer to happen in Vegas. With all due respect to the UK fans, okay, you want the fight in the UK, whatever. But you know what this is? This is what this is about. Me and Bayloric TV talked about this when I was on his show, when I was on his live stream. But for many years, the heavyweights in the UK and Great Britain were looked upon as the horizontal heavyweights, okay? And they finally got a heavyweight, Lennox Lewis, that dispelled that myth, okay? Dispelled that theory, okay? But he came over the United States. He made tons of money on HBO, fighting Evander Holyfield, okay? Fighting Mike Tyson. This guy made a lot of money, and he came to the United States to do so. He would never be the fighter he was unless he came over to the United States and beat our champions. Now, Deontay Wilder is not Evander Holyfield. He's not Mike Tyson. We know that, right? But Anthony Joshua isn't either. So he could stay in the UK and fight in those 90,000 stadiums. But that's going to keep him at that level. He's not going to cross over. The guy has the potential to be not a Mayweather. No one's going to be a Mayweather, but he has the potential to be a lot more than what he is. And what he is already is a lot. But he can amplify that beyond belief if he comes over to the United States. And even if he loses, if this fight is an entertaining fight. If this fight turns out to be the same fight that Klitschko Joshua was, both these men come out, with their profile already enhanced based off of that. So and then they have a rematch. It just makes no sense the way Eddie Hearn is playing his hand right now. He's supposed to be a promoter that's supposed to be smart, supposed to understand business. You go and you fight these mandatories. You go and you fight a Povetkin, Ortiz. You fight a Dillian White. Okay, you're favored to win, but there's always a chance that you could lose those fights. Those guys all can punch. They're all top-level fighters. And, you could end up throwing this fight away. So it just makes no sense to me. I thought this was going to be wrapped up. It was going to be announced soon. Now with Anthony Joshua saying he wants this fight in the UK, it just makes no sense. It just makes no sense.
And I heard that hang on, Robert, hang on. I heard that
all right.
The guaranteed $50 million. They guaranteed him $50 million. Okay, but the $50 million is a guarantee in the United States because they know they can generate that kind of money here with pay-per-views and everything like that. They know they can generate the money. But in England, he said, PBC has said, I guess Al Heyman or his people or whatever has said, he said we will fight you in England. We don't have a problem fighting you in England, okay? But it's not going to be worth $50 million there. We cannot guarantee you. If we take this fight to England, we cannot guarantee Anthony Joshua $50 million. If he does it here, we can guarantee you. But if you want to fight over there, that's fine. But we can't guarantee you that money. Now, he's got to make a decision here. Either they want the fight or they don't want the fight. And that's it. $50 million is a lot of money. Why is it like in Eddie Hearn, like I said, I mean, I gave him a little leeway because, like I said, the way it kind of came off, listen, you can't just come on Twitter and say, I want to fight, and then say you refuse to fight or whatever. There's got to be things going in. But look, man, I mean, all the cards are starting to come out on the table here. Both sides have been quiet for some time. The cards are coming out. Listen, it's $50 million guaranteed. That's not in dispute anymore. That's not in dispute. Either you want the fight or you don't want to fight. If you win, you get $50 million plus. If you lose, you get $50 million plus. It doesn't matter. Either take the fight or don't take the fight. It's that simple. There's no more, there's enough there now. What negotiation, what's a deal breaker here? There's enough here now. What is a deal breaker? It not taking place in London? Why? It's $50 million. This is what you're talking about here. Go ahead, Robert.
My question about all this, now look, I've always supported Joshua for being able to fight wherever he wants because he always fills up the stadium. But if you've got a guaranteed $50 million on the table, if you go to Las Vegas, why don't you take that? Because other heavyweight champions, like Beeb said, Lennox Lewis, he lived in Jamaica, he lived in Canada, he lived in England, but he always fought over here. He never, very seldom did he ever fight in the UK. Why is Joshua afraid to leave his country? Is he afraid that he's not going to get the fan support over here? Does he have to be in a large stadium in order to be comfortable to fight? Beeb, you follow the UK boxing scene. Why do you think Joshua does not want to come over here?
Well, he made a statement about being concerned about having to do a lot of press for the fight over here.
It's $50 million.
Acting as if they're going to pull him out of his training. They're going to grab him when he's sparring. Hey, man, you got to take the headgear off. We got to do a press tour. I mean, it's it's a question of the judges, and let me just say this. I'm going to say a couple of things. James DeGale fought Andre Durrell over here, United States. He won, got the decision. Bernard Hopkins fought Joe Calzaghe. Joe Calzaghe came over here. Joe Calzaghe got the split decision. You know what I'm saying? Lennox Lewis has gotten, fair decisions over here. It's not like you're going to get robbed over here. And I know people are are loyal UK fans. They want the fight over there. But let's look at it realistically. Now, I'm an Android guy. I love Android phones, right? I bought Android phones all my life. But if someone told me, hey, man, Apple sells way more phones than Android. Apple as a company is way bigger than Samsung or HTC. Am I going to sit there and argue against that? Even though I'm not an Apple guy, the only Apple product I have is an iPad, and that's because someone bought it for me. I don't use Mac computers, but I know that Apple is one of the largest companies in the entire world. So when you look past your bias and you put your business cap on, and not only that, you're putting your business cap on and you're having the best versus the best on top of that, this fight is a no-brainer. And Eddie Hearn said that, that they could have the fight in the United States. It's fine. Now, my fear is this. They said that they couldn't have the fight in the UK unless it happened in September or October. So now we're in May. So then the fight gets announced. We're almost in June. May's close to being over. So June, July, August, September. You have maybe 4 months to promote the thing. Whereas if the fight's in November, you have a couple extra months. It just makes more sense to have the fight in November in the United States because it's just so much more money involved. It makes the event bigger. It's a good look for the sport of boxing. You have a unification fight. You have it in the UK. I'm going to watch it. I'm not going to complain. That's fine. But a lot of people aren't going to watch it because it's going to be on at 6 o'clock and it's going to be on Showtime and it's going to be on a Saturday when people at 6 o'clock are probably doing errands, going out, working or doing whatever. But if you put the fight, at 10, 11 o'clock, people are going to be at bars watching. People are going to be at bars watching this. And I know the UK fans are going to be watching it over there, whatever. But again, 500,000 people aren't going to be watching it over here, whereas they would be if you put the fight on pay-per-view in the United States. You're getting an extra $50 million in revenue if you have the fight in the United States. Steven Espinosa said again, he doesn't care either way. He's worked with both guys. He's not biased towards either one. If anything, he would be biased towards Joshua because Joshua was the more profitable fighter. But at the end of the day, he said it's a substantially bigger fight if it's in the United States. Substantially. It's a no-brainer. And Steven Espinosa knows big fights. He's been part of the 4 biggest ones in the history of the sport of boxing. He's helped make those fights. Okay? So this is just common sense. So it just looks like if the fight's in the UK, it's not going to be as big worldwide. And I know I'm American and people are going to say, oh, you're being a nationalist, whatever. No, I'm being a pro boxer type person. I want what's best for the sport. And what's best for the sport is to take this fight and make it as big as you possibly can. As big as you possibly can. People are talking about the $100 million deal for Anthony Joshua. That's a 3-year deal. That's 6 fights. Okay? That's 6 fights. Floyd Mayweather had the same deal, and he was guaranteed $300 million, but he got much more than that $300 million in 6 fights because if you throw the Canelo Alvarez fight in there, you throw the Manny Pacquiao fight in there. This guy's made close to $1 billion in his career. Probably in that deal alone, made $500 million. So for the same deal that Joshua was getting, Floyd got $500 million, and Joshua's getting $100 million. And is that because USA is better than the UK? No. It's just simple economics, guys. Our market is greater than their market. Our pay-per-views and our tickets cost more than theirs. We have more people in our country. It's a different economy. The greatest 2 fights in the history of UK have grossed 53 million and 31 million. You know, at the very least, this fight, if it's in the UK, maybe it does 60. It's a $60 million fight. Whereas over here, I believe it can be well over $100 million. It's just a no-brainer. And I think the way Hearn is going about this, it makes no sense. I know Anthony Joshua wants to do this for his fans, whatever, but think about, you know, the sport in general. You want this to be like a worldwide event. You want everyone talking about this. Everyone's not going to talk about this if it's in the UK only. I'm just being honest.
You know, I'll tell you what, and you know what irritates me about what you just said was you said that Anthony Joshua said that he doesn't want to come to the U.S. because he thinks he'll have to do a giant media thing and everything. Yeah, you will. Let me confirm that for you. You will. Because when you're getting paid $50 million, yeah, you're going to have to do some press to promote this fight. It's just natural. You know, I mean, that's what happens. That's what fighters do. Everybody rips Floyd Mayweather, whether you like him or don't like him. He's the hardest working guy. I mean, when he was fighting, he was the hardest working guy because everybody knew his name. You know, he did all the promotions. He did whatever he had to. He talked to whoever, gave everybody interviews, everything like that. Kept his name relevant, did stupid things, whatever, but kept his name relevant. And that's what these guys don't understand. You want $50 million, you're going to have to work for it. It's not just, you know, you're going to have to do some press. You know, that's the way it is. Somebody in the chat just said that, you know, Anthony Joshua is the A side. So shouldn't he get the say? He should. He is definitely the A side. I don't think anybody would disagree with that. I think he is definitely the A side. He's sold more. He's fought the better opponents. He's got more belts. A side, clearly. Do you think, Beeb, let me ask you a question. Do you think, because it's a 50-50 split, isn't it? Or
it would be if he accepts the $50 million.
Do you think that bothers them? Because I know Eddie Hearn said in an interview, he said, we're not crazy about the 50-50 split. He said, if it's $50 million, yeah, that's great, but we're not crazy about the 50-50 split. Do you think that's what's holding this up? Is that it's not a 60-40 split?
I think what's holding this up is, honestly, it's Anthony Joshua. I don't think it's Eddie Hearn at all. I think Eddie Hearn wants to fight in Vegas. I think this is all 100% Anthony Joshua.
Wow.
And I think
but
when he's saying things like, "Oh, I'm worried. I'm going to go over there, and I'm going to go over there, and I'm going to have to do all these extra press tours. It's going to affect my training." You know, the judges. You know how they do people over there, the judges, the referees, and stuff like.
Yeah.
He's talking like a guy that has cold feet now.
Yeah.
You know, he's concerned about fighting out of his comfort zone. You know.
Which is silly because, I mean, like I said, if he doesn't get hit with that right hand, I think he outboxes Wilder all day. Wilder's
like picking him to win the, I would pick him to win the fight, but
I would too.
It would be tough. It would be tough.
Yeah. All right. Just we talked about Deontay Wilder being suspended, and I posted it here in the chat just a minute ago. I know what this is about. It says Deontay on BoxRec. It says Deontay Wilder suspended indefinitely by the New York State Athletic Commission. That's because of his last fight with Ortiz. It's a medical suspension. If you look on there, Andre Durrell has the same thing. He's suspended indefinitely also. There's a few other fighters. And this is all a normal thing, okay? Like if a fighter gets injured or he's just in a tough fight, a lot of times you're not allowed to fight 3 months afterwards. If you get knocked out, I think it could be up to 6 months afterwards or something like that.
Is that because of the seventh round? Is that what happens?
Yeah, it's a medical suspension, so it's nothing major. It's nothing that's going to hold anything up. It's all a normal thing. It'll be gone by the time his next fight rolls around. It's fine. So yeah, it's kind of a non-issue, kind of no news. So there you go.
I didn't think it was anyway.
Yeah, that's the Deontay. That's why nobody had it or whatever, and that's why because yeah, it's just a medical suspension. So there you go. All right, Beeb, it's time.
Brianna, you want to do a train wreck? Yeah. Hurry up. You're not going to brush your hair. Come on. What are you going Hollywood on us now? Get in here. Hurry up. You're killing us. Get in here. Come on. Hurry up.
Chugga, 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 choo-choo.
Ah, that was great.
There you go.
That was great, Brianna.
I want to do my hair. What do you think this is?
So much better than when Beeb does it. tell you that.
This could be her.
I think this is a soap opera.
Oh, you leave her alone. She needs to get ready. She needs to get ready.
All right.
This is what you get now.
All right.
That's right.
All right.
That's
All right. Enough, please.
The train wreck of the week this week, Orlando Salido. Orlando Salido arrested for stealing beer. Yes, he stole some beer. Let that sink in for a minute. Let that sink in for a minute. He was fighting. He was a world champion, he was just fighting not too long ago. Arrested for stealing beer. It gets better. All right. So various sources in Mexico stated that Orlando Salido was arrested this week in Sonora, Mexico for allegedly stealing beer. Salido was accused of stealing 16 cans of beer from a local convenience store and was arrested. Salido was with three other men during the incident. Apparently, this is where it gets better. Apparently in Mexico or in Sonora, they don't sell beer until 8 a.m. 8 a.m. Let that sink in, okay? Salido was there at 7 a.m. buying beer. 7. All right? Think about that for a minute. The clerk informed him, hey, you can't do that. But Salido and his friends didn't listen, and they just walked out with the beer without paying for it. Police were called, and he was arrested, and Salido is currently out on bail. 7 a.m., Robert. Do you ever drink that early?
Hell no.
There you go. All right. And there were some rumors, too. There were some rumors going around, too. Pacquiao Matisse was in trouble. The fight with Manny Pacquiao and Lucas Matisse was in trouble. I've looked at this, and they were all unsubstantiated reports that the fight is in trouble. I don't know the truth to it.
I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear anything at all.
Yeah, there was a couple articles I heard about this, that this fight may or may not happen. And Manny Pacquiao just gave a statement to the Manila, I guess, that Manila newspaper that he always talks to, that just basically says that, he says it's all just nonsense and there's nothing going on. The fight will take place, this and that. But the reports were coming out of Argentina, where Matisse is. Like I said, everything was unsubstantiated. Not only that, they didn't say why the fight was in trouble. So I don't believe that. I think that's just a rumor. I don't believe that the fight is in trouble or not. So there you go. All right. Beeb's boy, Tyson Fury, is coming back June 9th against Safira Safiri. This will be the first opponent back for Tyson Fury. Beeb, what do you know about Safiri?
Absolutely nothing. And whenever you ask me a question and I answer you that way, it's never good.
Right. The real deal is his nickname. He's from Albania. He's a cruiserweight. He's 23-1 with 21 KOs, so very good record. And he lost to Manuel Char. That's his only defeat, and that's for the WBA International Heavyweight Title. But Manuel Char is not too bad of a fighter. He's all right. I mean, he can beat the tar out of me for sure. I'm looking at his records here. And there's a lot of fights taking place in, just around the globe here. Doesn't look like he's fought anybody. Manuel Char is about the biggest name he's fought on there.
Did he make it? Did he make it to the end?
Yeah, he lost the decision. Yeah, he lost a unanimous.
Decision?
Yeah,
okay. That's a good sign.
That's not bad. Some fights in Switzerland, some fights in Germany, some fights I don't recognize. Yeah, Robert, what do you think of this? You're a big Tyson Fury fan.
No, I'm not actually.
Come on.
Who do you think you are?
There's only one Tyson Fury.
There's only one.
Oh my God,
Tyson Fury. He's a gypsy.
Oh, like the Gypsy King.
He's friends with Bobby Gunn, friend of the
Joshua,
show.
take note. See this guy who's Fury's fighting? He travels all over the world. Come on, get on an airplane. seriously, I think this is good for Fury. We'll find out what he has left. And he hasn't been in the ring since November 28th, 2015. You know, so you know we got to pass him by for this.
Yeah, I give him a pass for this.
We'll see what happens.
I mean, it's a comeback fight. I give him a pass for this. You know,
yeah.
I give him a pass. Beeb, you give him a pass?
Absolutely, man. Tyson Fury made me a lot of money in that Klitschko fight.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be forever indebted to him.
It's one of the worst heavyweight fights I've ever seen because
that was a masterclass performance.
Masterclass.
That was a masterclass performance.
I liked it. I liked it.
Made Klitschko look like he had two left feet.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
I like Klitschko.
And he was standing in cement, actually.
Well, you watch a Joshua fight. You watch a Joshua Klitschko fight. It gave you a really good appreciation of what Tyson Fury did, right?
Absolutely.
Very good.
Yeah.
Then he's stepping in there with this killer, Safari. A lot of guys wouldn't do that.
23 wins, only in 21 knockouts within those 23.
This guy's a murderous puncher.
Murderous.
And his name.
Well, let's see what he
get called the real deal. They don't call you the real deal unless you can fight.
Right?
I don't care who that is.
Right? I mean, you're talking about the real deal Safiri.
This guy's in his prime, man. 39 years old. Come on.
Come on.
Right.
Living in Switzerland, where they have the highest wages. Switzerland, that's what I heard. This guy's in a great place right now.
Yeah, that's where a lot of people take their offshore accounts. You know.
Hey.
Right.
That's where he takes them.
Got robbed against Manuel Charr. It was a very close decision. She could have went either way.
I thought he won the fight. That's just me. I don't know what the refs were watching. I thought he won the fight.
This guy's a monster, man.
Killer. Straight killer. Is he really 39?
Yeah, he's 39.
Jesus.
Oh, my God.
In his prime, man.
It is.
When I was 39, believe the things I could do when I was 39. 10 years ago? 10 years ago, I was a thoroughbred.
Thoroughbred.
Now they're ready to take me out in the back and shoot me.
Beeb said he was like justified 39, we're at 39. He was like that horse. All right, let's go back to the phones.
Beeb's got to worry about Friday. That's his number one concern right now.
What's that?
Beeb's got to worry about Friday because it's Linda's birthday. That's what he's got to worry about right now.
Right. Little wine and dine action, baby. You ain't going to Mickey D's for that one.
Said they're going to Wendy's.
going to five guys.
Five guys, that's right. Hey, those are good burgers. Those are real good burgers. 804, you're live.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing?
Corey, what's
up, Corey?
Lee, boxing.
Hey, Corey.
Lee, boxing. Yeah.
Hey, Corey, before you get it started, hey, Corey, how do you feel about me being undefeated in bets so far? How do you feel about that?
Totally overrated.
That's pretty good, right?
You fought a lot of journeymen.
Hey,
That's
Corey,
good, right?
what do you think about your favorite fighter fighting Friday in Japan?
Yeah, anyway, what do you got on that?
Hey, man, I got anyway knocking out McDonald, man. For real.
Okay.
Might do it.
Yeah, I got anyway knocking.
We're gonna find out what he's made of.
Knocking out McDonald. Who do y'all got winning?
We got Inoue because it's taking place in Japan. I think if it took place in England, it might be a different fight, but he's not going to win a decision over there.
I don't think it's going to decision.
May not. It may not.
Yeah, I don't think the refs. I don't think the refs are gonna play a part in here, man. You know, like the people that's keeping score of the fight, the judges. I don't think they're gonna need any judges in this fight, man. That's my personal opinion. I do wanna give everybody a shout out, man. I did my first interview this weekend, man. Nice. So I did go to the Gary Russell versus Diaz fight. That was my first big time fight I've been to. I had no credentials, but I got a very, very good interview with Jared Hurd. I got another great interview with Steven Espinoza. He gave me a lot of content, man, and he said that the Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua fight's looking good. It's possibly that it's gonna happen in November or December. That's the 2 dates that they're looking for. And I asked him, what about re-signing Anthony Joshua? He said we're definitely working on that, and Jared Hurd says that Kell Brook is possibly next. They're looking over the contract now, and if you haven't, man, go check out my
love it.
Lee boxing.
Jared Hurd,
yeah, I like that fight. Good fight.
Hey, I appreciate it, Beeb, for checking out my channel, man.
I love your channel, man.
I appreciate that, man.
I love that channel.
And, like I said, man, I'm giving another dimension to my channel, man. Just doing the interviews and stuff like that, man. I'm working on getting my credentials, but in the time being, man, without me having no credentials, man, I did some pretty good interviews, man.
Why don't you have any credentials?
I got a lean.
Can I give you some advice? So when you apply now, right, you got to send them links to your videos. Let them know that you do it. You know what I'm saying? Build up a nice portfolio like you're doing. Keep doing build up a nice portfolio where you're doing, right? And then when you apply for these to get credentials for fights, when you apply, send them links to your videos and stuff. Show them your work. They'll like that if you wrap that up. They'll love the fact. They'll love the fact that you interviewed fighters and stuff, and you got video footage. That'll get you credentials. That's a big feather in your cap.
I'm sure we can get you credentials. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we can help you out.
I definitely appreciate that, man. Like I said, man, I was gonna get a great Gervonta Davis interview, but that was pretty much the only interview I didn't get without my credentials. They pretty much kicked me to the curb, and they said, you don't have a green card, so, you're not welcome.
I know that feeling, I'll tell you that.
So, with that being said, man, I did what I could do, man, with what I could work with, man. Like I said, I don't think I did that bad, man, for the first time me doing interviews ever in my life.
Good job, Corey.
Yeah, so with that being said, man, moving on. I did think Gary Russell, man, and Jojo Diaz, man, the fight was the MGM Grand can only hold 2,700 people. It's a lot different than the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, where it holds it holds upwards of 14,000. So they're two different venues, man. You know what I'm saying? But from what I could see, me being on the second tier level, it looks sold out. You know what I'm saying? From what I could see, it looks sold out. It definitely looks sold out. Packed to capacity. And, they had some people standing up. So, you know what I'm saying? It was a really good fight. I sat beside a Mexican guy, and I sat beside a black guy, you know what I'm saying? That, you know what I'm saying? And so I had got both of their point of views. I was talking to him during the fight, and, the Mexican guy was definitely going for Jojo Diaz. He was from California. And the black guy was definitely going for Gary Russell, man. So I got both sides. And, I think it was a hell of a fight, man. Jojo Diaz won the first couple rounds, in my opinion. I had it even going into the 7th round. And then that's when Gary Russell took it away, man. Some of those body shots from being in the arena were vicious. And I mean vicious, man. The first 6 rounds of that fight, Jojo Diaz went heavy to the body, and everybody knew it. And it was very, man, you could just see the O's and the eyes, man. And I don't know how it looked on TV because, like I said, I was live at the MGM Grand. But, from the MGM Grand, man, a lot of people were making a lot of noise.
90 seconds.
And like I said, man, I don't know how it looked on TV, man. But being live, man, you could definitely hear some of those vicious body shots. Jojo Diaz, I was there. So I drove from Virginia to D.C. 3 days in a row, man. So, I just, built a rapport with some of the fighters, and, I got to know some of the fighters, man. I'm going to be doing a video, in-camp video with Jared Hurd. I got Rodriguez's number. So when Jared Hurd goes to camp, man.
60 seconds.
Another fighter, I'll be covering his camp, you know what I'm saying, when I can. So I definitely got in good with a couple people, man. I think my channel's going to be growing good. But I love what you guys are doing, man, and keep up the good work. But I do want to say the Badou Jack fight, I didn't catch it. I caught the tail end of it when I got home,
and it was pretty much the 7th round on is what I caught. Badou Jack got hurt to the body, man.
The 10th round,
man.
yep.
And I did see after the fight it was a draw. Floyd Mayweather said it was an immediate rematch, man. I don't know if you guys talked about it. I'm just now calling in. I thank you for coming, getting straight to me, man. I really do appreciate that. But I mean, Mayweather having so much power, man. I don't know, man. Do you guys think the rematch is immediate? I mean, if Floyd
10 seconds.
Yeah, I think it will be.
I'm hearing Kavatsnik is next. So I don't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm hearing Kavatsnik may be next. He's the mandatory. So I don't know if there's going to be an immediate rematch or not.
What, for Stevenson?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
With that,
Alvarez was the mandatory for 2 years. He never got a shot.
it was a pretty good fight, man. It was a really good fight, man. And like I said, it was a triple header. I did watch the Lee Shelby versus Josh Warrington. I think the winner of that fight, Josh Warrington, was the bona fide winner. He took the belt from him. I don't see it any other way. I scored a 7-5 firm for Josh Warrington, and he was more active. He did more to work. He bobbed and weaved, and I think him versus Gary Russell Jr. Would be a hell of a fight, man. Gary Russell Jr. I talked to him. I didn't interview him after the fight, but I interviewed him before the fight. He was pissed he couldn't stop Jojo Diaz. He was livid, man. He was just like, I'm sorry I let you guys down, man. I know I promised, it wouldn't go the distance, man. He was a tough cookie, and he said definitely from here on out, man, he's going for the KO, man. And he was just so bummed out he couldn't stop Jojo Diaz. But I thought Jojo Diaz showed a lot of heart at the end of the fight, man. He the last 11th and 12th round, even though it was too late, I thought the scorecards were already out, man. But, at the end of the fight, man, I really thought that Jojo Diaz showed that he was, really well. And he showed that he had a lot of heart, you know what I'm saying? And my personal opinion about the whole situation is, I think that, after Jojo Diaz, lost, I think that he might move up. I honestly do. I think that he might move up in weight. And, my personal opinion is, after that, man, after that type of performance, man, I would love to see where he goes now. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, man, this is definitely Corey Lee's Boxing, man. And you can find me on YouTube and on Instagram. And I appreciate all the love and the support, man. Y'all have a blessed week.
You too, Corey. You too.
All right.
Corey Lee's Boxing.
Is that how he says it on his channel?
No, I say it like
that. I like Corey. I
I love Corey, man. Corey's awesome.
Yeah, go check out his channel.
Check out Corey Lee Boxing, everybody.
Corey Lee Boxing.
Corey Lee Boxing.
Yeah, couldn't you see Jimmy Lennon or Michael Buffer doing that? That would be great.
All right, man. That'll do it for this edition of Ringside Reporter. As always, you can catch Robert on Twitter at Ringside Robert, or you can call Ringside Robbie's Corner at 917-259-1810. Leave him a message. You can catch Joe Habib on Twitter at JHabib1 and find his YouTube channel at beatingtheoddswithbeeb.com. I'm at Ringside 73, and we will see you next week.